Take it away from him. Under 4 left. The barn is alive again. 52-51, Illinois.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's Charles here from Bulls. I'm here with my co-host, Paulie.
Hey.
And today we're with a special guest, one of my favorite guys, Shaq. How we doing today, guys?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for joining us, my man. How you doing today?
Yeah, not too bad. I'm just, had a morning of coaching and now just got some time off getting ready for the game tonight.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So let's introduce Shaq to the audience and just tell us a bit about your basketball career and history. When did you first start playing?
So I first had a ball in hand probably when I was about 5 years old.
Yes.
And I ended up playing some domestic basketball when I was, 9, 10. And then I was introduced to the head coach of Perth Redbacks under 12s. And that's where I started. So I did 2 years there. 3 years. I did under 12s, 13s, 14s. And then had a couple friends over at East Perth and ended up, talking to them and considering moving over. And then from under 15s, I've been there. And I was there up until under 18s. So I've spent about, 4 years there. And after that, I decided to make a move to Melbourne. Wow. That was a big move. I was 17 years old and it was just,
Oh,
so were you staying like by yourself?
Well, I had a friend of mine that I had never met. I say he's a friend of mine. He became a friend of mine, right? Yeah. So my auntie's best friend's brother, that's who he was. And he picked me up from the airport. I had no idea who he was at the time. But Rob, if you ever see this, I appreciate everything he did for me. And, we became pretty good friends over the years that I was there. So I went over there to be a part of the Victoria University Basketball Academy that was run by Andrew Gaze.
Yep.
And just like AUBD and those other kind of development programs over there.
Yeah.
That was my goal. My goal was to develop as an athlete and hopefully get a chance to either from there go into semi-professional or professional basketball or go to college and make things happen from there.
Correct.
So I did a year and a half there. It was meant to be 2 years. That was cut short, thankfully, because I got a college offer in in California. So I ended up in San Francisco, just outside of San Francisco.
So you're only in your early 20s at this stage.
At this point, yeah. So I turned 18 my first year in Melbourne.
Yep.
And I turned 19 just before I was leaving. So I moved over to California when I was 19. And I did junior college there. So that was for a year. Normally junior college lasts 2 years, but I looked at our team and, one thing you learn when you're over there is individual stats and your individual talent doesn't really get you as far as you'd think.
Yeah.
It's more so being part of a winning culture and being a winning athlete. Yeah, team athlete yourself, like if your team is not winning and you're dropping 20 points a game, it really doesn't matter. Yeah. Whereas if you're contributing to a winning team, you're more valuable to a coach at the next level.
Okay.
So we had a lot of sophomores and we had a lot of guys leaving. So year 2 was in question in terms of being able to succeed. And I made the decision to move on after my first year.
Okay.
So I actually wasn't NCAA eligible. So that was
Now, coming from Australia, there's not many Australians that get that opportunity to go through the college system. Did you meet any other Aussies when you were over there?
Yeah, so Scott Fisher was my head coach, and I don't know how much you know about Scott Fisher, but he played at the Wildcats. He was a head coach of the Wildcats at one point. So he loved recruiting from Australia, obviously.
Yes.
He'd been here, played here. So we had 6 Australians.
Wow.
So I lived with 5 other Australians. And, I don't know about junior college. Like, I don't know how many of you have really experienced junior college that are watching this, or if you guys know much about it, but it's a grind, right?
Yeah.
We were in a 3-bedroom apartment, 2 people to each room, and, we were sleeping like
They're like dorms.
2 feet away from each other. Yeah, it was really like a dorm setup.
It's like a military barracks almost.
Yeah, but, you did what you had to do to try get through that year and get your next opportunity. So, after that, as I said, I wasn't NCAA eligible. So I ended up having to look at NAIA schools.
Yep.
And then I actually got a message from a friend of mine in Adelaide, and he said, have you ever thought of going to Canada? This was completely out of the blue. Yeah. Never thought of Canadian basketball. Obviously, it's like, go to the States, do 4 years, come back, see what happens. Yeah. And I ended up starting my search at a school that he went to on the east coast of Canada, University of New Brunswick. Yeah. And I started my search there, and I made it all the way from the east coast to the west coast. And I got a couple responses from different schools, ended up with 3 final offers, and I ended up in British Columbia at Camosun College. Yeah. So yeah, that was interesting. It took a turn for the better, because I had a plan, but then it ended up changing. Yeah. And I mean, it worked out for me, so I'm grateful for that. But I always tell people this, I still have the acceptance package from Tennessee Wesleyan University. It's in my bottom drawer in my bedroom at home.
Something to remind you.
Yeah, because I was ready to go to Tennessee.
How many hours are you putting in a week to train to get to that level?
Oh man, it's a
lifestyle. It's your life. It's eating. It's living that every day.
It's a lifestyle, and I mean, as a hooper, Charles, you know what it takes. You teach guys how to get to the next level. Yeah. But it's really up to you. Yeah. You can do one on-court workout and one weight room session, but there's always going to be someone that wants to do another on-court workout after that. Correct. Right? So yes, whatever you're doing may be sufficient for you, but certain guys may need more work, right? So my advice to others, and my advice to myself, is get in as much as you can. Take care of your body and everything, but if you can get in as many hours as you can to get better, then get it done.
There's always that other guy that's going to be putting in those extra hours, so you've got to consider that. Yeah,
exactly. And the JUCO life was really eye-opening as well. I had guys on my team that basketball was their way out. Yeah. And you see it on movies, and it seems cliche, but it actually is. It is what it is.
It's the only opportunity they have not to, have any sort of decent life.
Yeah, because a lot of their upbringing is in disadvantaged communities, and it's easy to fall into that lifestyle that has become a norm in whatever.
Well, there's no opportunities for them.
No, there's no opportunity.
And we don't understand that level of I guess lack of investment in society, because we're so fortunate here.
Exactly, we are really fortunate, and we shouldn't take it for granted. But just know. Yeah, just know that, when you're putting in your work, just know how bad they want it, right? Exactly. They want it so much more than you think you do. Yeah. So, yeah.
Now, when you were over in Canada, what were some of your favourite experiences over there? What did you learn?
I think, first off, choosing the school that I chose was really based around the location, the people, starting with my head coach, Scott Cushone. Yep. You want to go somewhere that's really good for you basketball wise, but you got to remember, you play basketball for 2 to 4 hours a day at most. Yeah. The rest of the time you're living your life. Yeah. And you got to be around good people, and you got to be in a place that you enjoy living. So, the experiences that I had was just enjoying how beautiful British Columbia is. Canada's a great place. People, not only in my network, but outside of that, people in Canada are really friendly. Yes. Yeah. So it was a really enjoyable experience for me. I'm not too much of an outdoorsy person, but when you get there, you just there's mountains everywhere. You want to go on hikes. Your teammates are like, let's go on a hike,
Did you spend a winter there?
Yeah.
How was that winter?
You know what? It's not as bad as it would have been on the East Coast. The East Coast gets a lot of snow. Okay. We got snow for maybe 1 to 2 weeks out of the winter, but it's still super cold. Yeah, it's still super cold. Yeah. I think the funniest thing was living. So I lived with my teammates. We had a double-story house, and there was 6 of us in there. And every morning you wake up, and it got me at first. I was like, "Oh, this is weird," but you just kind of get used to it. There's deer in your backyard, there's 4 or 5 deer in your backyard, and it's every morning without fail. So
just like they expect us to have kangaroos in our backyard, they actually have deer.
It's like that, right? So every American thinks we have kangaroos like that, but Canadians actually have deer. It's crazy.
So after your time there, what did you then? You came back to Adelaide?
No. I came back to.
Sorry, your friend from Adelaide.
He had spoken to me, and from after Canada, so this was, I finished in March. I had to come back, obviously, with the coronavirus.
Yep.
I was planning to just stay another month. So normally I stay till the end of April. And then from there, I come home for the summer, winter, just to see the family and stuff. And then I'd head back. Normally, it would be next month. I'd be getting ready to leave right now.
So what's happened with that then?
So that's pretty much on pause. Sorry, Charles.
Just before we go past that, playing at the university, as a basketball player, playing on the team, what was it like playing on the team and you as a player and you getting better? Like, I know because you're my friend. I saw a lot of posts. I saw a lot of games that you were playing. You were performing. Like, how did you feel you fitted into the program and in the system, and how it made you better?
So at the start, obviously, my coach was quite invested in me, and that's why I chose to go there. I'm a big believer of, I'll say it like this, staying in your lane, but just be true to yourself and be real with yourself. If you think you can play at a certain level, then go do it.
Yeah.
But don't shoot too high and then end up, some guys, they just want the label of, I played Division 1.
Yeah.
End up sitting on the bench.
Yep.
And it's a waste of time. You don't get better at playing basketball unless you're on the court. That's simple
real.
facts.
Yeah.
You can, even us, we're both skills trainers.
Yeah.
We can try, but you can't replicate a game situation
100%.
at all.
100%.
So, you got to play as much as you can while you're over there. And that was one of the reasons I chose that school. The coach said, look, we're going to be building this team around you and you're going to play a big role on the team. So from year one, and, at times college coaches, they can tell you things and they don't live up to their promises, but Scott did. And, he trusted me from the start.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing for me was learning how to do more each year.
Yep.
So I think my first year, I'd get in the gym, I'd shoot pretty often, I'd lift weights pretty often. But there was a lot of times where I was tired, you get fatigued from school, training, all that, road trips, and it's easy to slack off. So although I did decent, I think I averaged 15 and 6 my first year. I thought that was pretty good, and I thought I was going to, get some recognition for it, and I didn't. And that that caught me off guard, and I was like, okay, if I'm not getting any recognition, then it's the coaches that vote. So coaches obviously don't think I'm good enough or I'm doing enough. And you go back over the summer and you go back to the drawing board, check your blueprint. What are we gonna do for next year to improve? And I think the two things for me were consistency and efficiency. So yes, I was playing good games, but it'd be good game, average game, good game, average game. And then I'd have a bad game in there and then back to a good game. And you just jump between, and that's just not good enough. At the end of the day, it's just not good enough, right? So the next year, which was my second year in Canada, you just kind of, you fix that training regime, you get in the gym more, you shoot more, and your training becomes more specific, you do things with more intensity and stuff like that. And then I noticed that my consistency improved. My efficiency went up by a lot. And again, no recognition at the end of the season. And I was like, okay, I was really, really upset with not being able to get that, because, as much as you have, that intrinsic evaluation of yourself that's saying, I'm getting better. It's nice to have like an award in your hand or have your name being thrown out there. Like, this guy's a good player.
Definitely.
And so my third year, I gave it all I got. It was like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'd lift weights. Thursday, I'd rest because Friday we have games, and it's Friday, Saturday. Our turnaround was, we play Friday at 8 p.m. and then Saturday we play at 3 p.m. So no real time for recovery. You're just straight back into it. And those back-to-backs killed us because we're on my school's on Vancouver Island. So when we play teams on the mainland, we stay the night. And obviously, the school with their budget and stuff, they don't want to stay 2 nights, obviously. So we play the game Friday, play the game Saturday afternoon, so we can come back on the Saturday night.
Canada's huge. So those are long trips.
Long trips, So we only stayed in the West Coast, but
it's still,
man, there was some 5-6 hour bus trips. Jeez. I remember going down to Portland when we played our exhibition games in Portland. That was like a 7 hour bus ride. Right. So, and that's the other thing, you know, like being able to be disciplined enough to say, yes, I got to get my shots up. I got to get my weights in even before a long road trip. You know,
slack off when you're eating.
Yeah.
Your diet's got to be right. Yeah.
Exactly. Your school continues. Yeah. You know, you miss your class on Friday, but you better be doing the work on the ferry.
Yeah.
Or you better be doing it when you're on the bus. And yeah, food, you know, you mentioned diet. And even here, I find it in the SBL, you know, when the game finishes so late, you're looking around like, what am I going to eat? And you see all these, the big yellow M is there, and you're like, should I? Oh man! But you know, you gotta try to be as disciplined as possible. And there is times where you slip up, and that's natural. But you know, like the more you can stay disciplined, the better off you'll be. So yeah, that third year was really good for me. Super consistent, super efficient, and I ended up becoming a first team All-Star.
Oh, congratulations. Well done.
Yeah, thank you. So that was really good, and that kind of, you know,
that was just gave me a validation that the hard work had actually paid off.
Exactly, and you always want that validation, 100%. You know?
Yeah. So, well, to know that you're improving as well, and yeah, you're doing the right thing and putting the hard work towards something positive and that's working out. Absolutely.
Exactly. And, you know, it's good to see yourself improving from year to year, but when someone else notices it, it's even better.
Yes.
And for everyone listening out there, this is a general situation of living an elite athlete life. As you've seen, Shaq explained his first year, he was averaging people 15 and 6. For a lot of people, that will tell you that that's good numbers.
Yeah.
Like that's good numbers. That's consistently 15 and 6.
Yeah.
And not being able, and not even that he couldn't, but because he didn't get any offers, Shaq didn't stay comfortable. Like he didn't have to, he could have stayed getting 15 and 6 if he wanted to. Yeah. But it was, what do I need to do better? What do I need to do better? He always stayed in the gym, stayed getting better. And that's why he's in the position he is today. So being an elite player isn't always just making certain points, making certain numbers, or scoring a certain amount of points. It's not just game day. Exactly.
Every day. Exactly.
So, do you mind if I return back to the Corona?
For sure.
So Corona struck, everything's been put on pause. What was the first thing that came to your mind?
First thing that came to my mind, well, actually, I didn't even have time to think. My mom was on the phone to me pretty quickly, and she's like, you're coming home. Yeah. She's like, it's not safe out there. You're not staying. Just come home.
Yep.
So, I got my things packed. I got my mask ready, and, you know, traveling through the States was pretty nerve-wracking because everyone was just, you know, when you go flying, there's a lot of people that are already sick. And the chances of you getting sick are even higher when you're on those long flights with, you know, in a small confined area, right? So I had that mask on, and man, it was the most uncomfortable experience coming back because it's like 30 hours of flying total.
Yeah, and you had a mask on the whole time.
Because you know what's crazy? You get relieved when you get to Melbourne, and then you're like, oh wait, I still got 4 more hours. And I'm like, oh no.
Oh my God.
So yeah.
But your family was obviously glad to have you back.
Yeah, definitely. So I had my 2-week quarantine, and lucky it was in a house. So I was able to do it. I did it at my auntie's place, actually. Yeah. And I was fortunate to avoid the hotel quarantine because I know a lot of people were going crazy.
Yeah, I would imagine.
But so I got back, and, you know, it was kind of weird because I had no real, I guess, purpose. You know, I was just kind of like, I'm back. SBL has been put on hold. Yeah. You can't get a job. Yeah. And school's finished now. So I'm just, you know, hanging out. Yeah. And after that, after I got out of my quarantine, I was just like, okay, I'm going to start working out. I did a bunch of outdoor workouts, just trying to stay active and whatever. But, you know, it's hard to be motivated.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then, after that, I ended up contacting Swish City in Joondalup, and I started doing some work for them. And, you know, since then, that's kind of taken off. And
now, for listeners that don't know, Swish City is an amazing place.
Yeah.
Describe Swish City to the audience for us.
So Swish City is a warehouse in Joondalup, and basically they've got 3 half courts. They're separated by nets, probably the width of like 2-3 feet outside the keyway. So it's not big, but it's like the middle lane of the court, basically.
Right. Yeah.
And they've got shooting machines on 2 of those courts. And so kids come in and they pay their fee and they can shoot for an hour, right? And a lot of kids come in there whenever I'm in there, and they're just getting up their reps. So it's good to see that everyone's out there working on their game. It's a lot of obviously Joondalup Wolves kids because it's right there. Yeah. And then I use the end court, and I train my kids on the end court. Yeah. So I don't use a shooting machine, but we get a lot of hard work in down there.
Now, your students, obviously having someone that's had your experience and is still a current player, that's a huge opportunity for them as well. Yeah. So, I mean, when did you start thinking about coaching kids and whatnot?
So I was doing it on a much smaller scale. Probably this was 2 years ago. So 2018, I had 2 kids.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, just 2 kids, and they had approached me by themselves, and they said, "Look, can I work with you? I'm really trying to improve my game, improve my individual skills." And I said, "Yeah, sure." And so 2018 and 2019, I just had those 2 kids. And I'm thankful for Swish City because they really helped me out. They got my name out there, and they promoted me, and before I knew it, it felt like every under 12, under 14s from Joondalup wanted to work with me.
And further.
Exactly, yeah. I got some kids from Warwick, It's a lot of northern suburbs kids, but, it's super rewarding being a coach, just week in. Yeah, you know how it is, right? And 100%. I mean, I know Charles works with... you work with more teenagers, like older. Yeah. I do more youth. So my youngest is 8. I had him this morning. So little Thomas, he's 8. He's out there working, and go all the way up to 15, 16-year-olds. Yeah. So, it's really good because week to week I get to hear from the parents and I get to hear from the kids. And I'm sure you can relate, man. Yeah. The best feeling is when a kid comes up to you and they're like, "Oh man, I did this move that you taught us." And then one kid said to me yesterday, he's like, "Yeah, I did the hip crank yesterday and the defender just went flying." And I was like, "Yeah, that's what we want to. That's what we want to hear." Yeah. So
and Swish City is a great place. So everyone go check it out. We'll put the details for Swish City below. Yeah, and of course yourself. Now, I was going to actually touch on 1 or 2 other things, but Charles, do you have any?
So since we talked about Corona, you coming back, you coaching, we're going to talk more about you as a player. So right now you're obviously playing in the SBL. Yeah. The season's been cut short, but clearly it has done nothing to phase you. You're still playing with East Perth, and you started off as a leading scorer. Yeah. So tell us about the season, how it's going so far.
Yeah, so I mean, I was actually the first game didn't go to plan. I fouled out early, and I think I only ended up with like 10 points. And then I bounced back against Geraldton. I think I had like 32 or something. Ooh. So I started off pretty hot. Now teams are catching on to me, so I'm just trying to figure out different ways to be effective on the court. And as you said, I'm with East Perth, and a lot of those guys I've played with before. So I'm super thankful to have them around me. They're super supportive, and they've been great. So it's good fun to be back playing. We're really lucky here in WA. At least we get to play.
Exactly. Yes.
I know I'm talking to a lot of my friends in Melbourne, and they're still doing at home workouts. They don't really get to play any basketball. Nope. We're lucky, even though the season has been cut short. We're lucky to be playing. And unfortunately I'm the second leading scorer now. Justin King, he's taken over for a second,
guys.
I'm sure he'll see this. Just know I'm coming back for it. So
now after the SBL season, we've got the NBL hopefully starting soon. I mean, do you have any, opportunities to maybe play with the NBL at all, or is there anything that...
what are you looking at, trying to play overseas, or are you looking to stay at home, try to see if you can link up with the team in the NBL? So,
obviously now it's a really weird situation. Coronavirus has put a massive pause on everything for everyone. Yeah. Even in the NBL, as an Australian, there's so many restrictions that have been implemented that roster sizes are down. Plenty of other things. The rules and regulations of the season, if it does go ahead, are changing dramatically. So, in saying that, it's still the only option I really have to explore. There's no travel. Yeah. I have been granted a travel exemption, which is great, but we're in probably the safest place in the world right now. I'm really not trying to go anywhere else. So, I actually, I didn't actually mention this. I took a trip to China in August of 2019, and that was right before my third year of college, or my third year in Canada. And the reason for that was I went with a friend of mine from Melbourne, and he was introducing me to a bunch of general managers and some scouts there. We were hanging out with Stefan Marbury's agent.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, he's got some pretty good connects over in China, and that was an incredible experience. You know?
That's the largest basketball market on the planet.
Yeah.
There's religion over there.
There.
It's unreal. Like, and as you say, it's like probably the closest thing in terms of, you know, popularity. It's the closest thing to the NBA, I would say.
Yeah.
Some of the stadiums there are huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
So so obviously because I've been to China as well.
Yeah.
Explain you being so tall and them already knowing you're a basketball player. How much attention did you get? Anywhere you went?
Yeah, man, it's crazy. They love it out there. If you even look remotely like a basketball player, they get so excited. Yeah. But no, it was good. I had a workout in the Shenzhen Aviators facility. So, you know, I was over there in front of some pretty important people, which was cool. And I just kind of networked with them and got to meet them. Yeah. Obviously, I explained to them that I've still got a couple of years of college left. At that time, it was still 2 years. And, you know, they said they would keep track of what I was doing. And, you know, potentially there would be an opportunity to play in China. Yeah. Now, obviously, we didn't know that these things would happen. So,
but
China's
may still exist in the future.
Yeah.
Once international travel opens back up, basketball's not going to stop.
Exactly. And, you know, as you said, it's a future opportunity. Yeah. So, China may be out of the way right now, but you know,
12
in the
months
future,
time, 18 months, it's still something.
It's still there.
Yeah.
And I mean, Charles, you said you've been there. You know, the basketball market there is huge. Fan base, money. Yep. There's no reason you wouldn't want to play there. So,
100%. And you play against a lot of amazing players as well, because they just bring in so much talent from everywhere.
Yeah. Exactly. So, China was first kind of look, and now being here, I'm in talks with 2 NBL teams at the moment, so just trying to see if I can get, you know, even a development player spot on a team. Obviously, again, you know, after your season, you go back to the drawing board, see what you can do to get better.
100%.
And I've done that. Obviously, with Corona, that's given me a bit more time to do so. Yeah. And West Coast Classic has provided me with an opportunity to, you know, experiment and become better as a player, challenge myself, and you know, hopefully, I'm preparing to be part of an NBL roster in the next month or so.
100%. Yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, let's hope these teams come calling at the end of the season.
Exactly. Yeah.
Since we've covered pretty much most of your basketball life story teams, what would you say has been your greatest moments or part of your basketball journey, or a greatest play or favorite play that you've done? Whether you had a buzzer beater in front of hundreds of people, whether you dunked on somebody really bad in one final.
Actually, there was one game this previous season. I actually won Athlete of the Week for it in the conference, and then I was one of 5 Athletes of the Week across Canada as well. So if you win Athlete of the Week in your conference, you get stacked up against the rest of the conferences across the country, and then you have an opportunity to be the Athlete of the Week for that whole the whole country.
Sweet.
So that was a pretty good performance. I had like 27 points, couple rebounds, couple assists, couple steals, couple blocks. Like it was kind of an all-round game. I had an and one to bring us within 1 point with like 20 seconds left. And then the ball was coming in from the baseline. They threw a bad pass. It hit my teammate's head, the back of his head. The ball fell. Our point guard picked it up. He just threw it to me, and I hit a layup to put us up 1 with like 15 seconds or so left. And we ended up winning that game. So yeah, that was super cool. And shout out to my point guard again. He gave me a half court alley-oop that game. So that was probably one of my favorite games. And yeah, that was definitely my favorite play over the year.
Which college is this with again, sorry?
This was at Camosun in Canada.
Okay,
yeah.
so audience members, I'm sure there should be something on YouTube.
Yeah, there is some footage of it. So yeah,
I'm sure we can point you in the direction of that. We'll try and post a link below in the comments. But wow,
that's
awesome.
Yeah, so that was really good, and I actually had a really good playoff run this past season. The quarterfinal, I had 39-8 in the first game, and then the second game I think I only had 15. They were a really good team. They were top ranked in the country. So they were pretty locked down on me. And then the third game I had 31. So I think I averaged 29 in the playoffs for the last season.
Whoa.
So yeah.
I don't know if you guys understand this, people, but he averaged.
Yeah. Averaged
in the playoffs. That's tough, guys. That is really good.
Now, I do want to touch on something. I understand if you don't want to talk about it. There's a lot going on in America at the moment. Do you have a position on, of course, or opinion on the current situation with the NBA and the strikes, but also what's happening with
BLM?
Black Lives Matter and the African American population over there.
Yeah, it's obviously a subject that has a bunch of different perspectives, and I've talked to my friends about it, I've talked to family about it, and people have different points of view about it. The NBA strike was a little questionable for me. The only reason is because the NBA has gone ahead. It's in a bubble. It's on a platform. It has its own platform.
Yeah.
And there was already so much, to do with Black Lives Matter on the NBA stage.
Yeah.
They had it on the court. They had it on their jerseys. Yeah. And I think by going on strike, you can say they're trying to make a point, but they're also losing that, that promotion of what they had from the start.
Yeah.
And it's a really tough subject to talk about, because what is really going to make change?
Yeah. 100%.
Everyone's doing their best to bring light to the subject and, make it right, because everything that's happening right now is not right. Yeah. There's not one bit of it that's right.
Yeah.
But we just have to do our best to keep trying to create change. And I think, it stems from the younger generation. So myself and Charles, we work with youth. Mine are younger than yours, but it's still, bringing them up to have good morals and good values. I think that's going to create future change. And I believe personally that's what we can control the most.
100%. 100%.
People in our generation, they have their opinions, they have their views. They're going to do what they want regardless of anything, right? So I think our next step is bringing up the younger generation as more positive people, and, allowing them to be inclusive to everyone in our community, wherever that may be.
So like with American basketball, obviously with the NBA teams, LeBron and stuff, they're taking the lead to say we're going to boycott the season.
Yeah.
And obviously Black Lives Matter, BLM, is not just specifically in America. Obviously it's everywhere around the world.
Yeah.
In Australia too.
Yeah.
With indigenous people, black people, wherever. But what do you think, because we've got athletes like LeBron making certain moves to support a cause in America, what do you think athletes in Australia, Perth, whatever, like us or yourselves or in the NBL can do to support such causes? Because it is happening here. It happens. It may not be exactly the same as people getting shot, but it is the same cause and it is happening here. What is something that us athletes or people in the NBL specifically can do or should do that can make a difference? Because they do have the same platform, technically.
Well, I think, like you said, teaching the kids, but what else? Is there anything?
I would say teaching the kids is probably my biggest my biggest bit of advice that I give to other people and myself. NBL players do have a platform. Yeah. So if they were to take on a similar, notion as the NBA players, I think that would be effective.
Yeah.
And for us, I think our platform is not as big, but we can still do things on a smaller scale to,
100%.
help people to understand. I think
bring
understanding
awareness and educate the public.
Understanding and awareness is huge, you know.
Absolutely.
And if you can educate someone on the topic, then that's one more person that is going to be moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
And as I said, I feel like there's not going to be an immediate change. I just don't think it's realistic, right? But we need to work towards it.
Yes.
And as long as people are committed to working towards it, and I know I've got a lot of people on my social media, I'm sure you do too, they never let the Breonna Taylor case go. Yep. And rightfully so, they shouldn't. Yeah. But, you know, that commitment to keeping it active and bringing awareness to that and allowing everyone to understand that it's not okay is important, and I think that's what we should continue to do.
Yes,
100%.
100% agree.
Definitely. Finishing off, we probably have touched on this, but as somebody that is a big influence to the youth in basketball. But for the guys, most importantly, pretty much guys that I train, kind of that are in their later stages of youth, trying to see if they can play basketball professionally or go to college. What kind of words or motivation do you think you can, or message you can bring out to them?
Tips and advice.
Because there's some kids that want to go but don't know how to, or you know, you went through a completely different way most people go. But it worked for you. You know, you went to Melbourne, you went to here, you went to America, then you went to Canada. There is no direct way of going. Yeah. What kind of tips or message would you send out to guys that wish or dream to be in a situation that you were in?
Yeah. You know, it's funny. You say there is no direct way, and there isn't. But if you can clean up your path as best as you can, I think that is effective, you know, because the more years you can savor, the better off you'll be. Yeah, and not to say that I'm like super old and that I lost years, but it could have been go to the States, do 4 years, and then get right to it, you know, to the ultimate goal. Yeah. I think my biggest bit of advice would be to do your work early. Understand and educate yourself on the college system and what needs to be done to get there. Yeah. Because it's not just be a good basketball player. Yeah. That's not what it is. When I went over to JUCO in California, the biggest thing that jumped out to me was the fact that there were so many guys that were my height and athletic. And coming from Perth, my athleticism was my biggest advantage. Yeah. And being able to dunk the ball and, you know, get out and transition and stuff was a huge part of my game. And you get over there and you realize that everyone can do that, or at least 80% of the guys out there can do it. Yeah. So you got to find other ways to be effective, you know. And I think that's where myself and you can help the youth in developing different aspects of the game. Yeah. You know, and again, I say we can't really replicate game situations, so do your best with us on court, and then you have to go away and maybe even study the game, study your own game film, and look at other areas that we can be effective in, you know. Things like rebounding and defense, we can teach it, but it really just comes down to effort and desire, right?
100%, yes.
In the moment, you could rebound the ball 100 times throughout the week. If you don't really want to jump up and get that ball in that moment in time, you're probably not going to get it, right? So yeah, focusing on the 1%ers, I would say, would be huge. I know I'm speaking to a couple of guys that are playing wobble right now about going over to college. I actually help a friend of mine, Richard Balafi. He runs Australia and New Zealand basketball scouts, and they're over in Melbourne. They're based over in Melbourne.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah. So basically, it's $800. Or $1,000, depending on which package you choose. But basically, he can reach out to every single college coach from whichever division you would like to go to. Right. And he has analytics that will tell you whether the coach has opened the email, whether the coach has looked at your resume, whether the coach has looked at your video, how many times he's looked at your video. Wow. So there's a lot of things that you can really look at if you do decide to take the path with him. And, you know, his job is to create exposure for you. Yeah. So all you do is gather your film, you know, a bit of a blurb about yourself, send it off to him, and he can kind of see where you can be placed. And, he can reach out to Division 1, Division 2, Division 3, junior college, NAIA.
That's really rare
amazing.
because, firstly, Australia is such a small market. We're so remote, but getting into the USA and having those contacts, that's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge
and,
for any athlete.
And I know Aussie Prospects is here. And do you know much about Aussie Prospects?
Not as much, no, but I
know a little.
Yeah?
So I've worked with Ash once or twice. Frank works with Aussie Prospects.
Yeah. So Aussie Prospects is obviously, they help kids get over to the States as well.
Yeah.
And I spoke to a few guys that are from Aussie Prospects, and I said, don't stop doing Aussie Prospects because they're obviously doing a great thing and trying to get you exposure.
Definitely.
But okay, let's say you're going on an AAU circuit in Texas from the first week of July to the third week of July.
Yep.
That's when you can contact Richard and say, all right, send my resume out to these coaches in Texas. And if they're interested, they'll come right to that AAU circuit. They'll watch you right there. And, that's the best way. Yeah. It's up to you at that point. If you're on court in front of coaches that are interested in you, it's up to you to perform.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that's kind of a little bit of what I do with some kids. And it is a select few. Normally when they're in grade 11 or 12, just getting them ready for, if they really do want to go to college, let's see who's interested, send out your game film, and then we can look at some potential offers.
So before they come to you, what should they have before they come to you?
Have game film. And I know it's tough, remember when we were younger.
When we were young, nobody was...
no one was... like filming anything. You had one parent with an iPad, and the iPad was like this by the third quarter. So, game film, do your SATs.
Yes.
Do your SAT. That is a standardized test for American college, and you cannot get anything without your SAT. Reason why I'm ineligible, I sat my SAT about 2 years after I graduated high school, and it didn't meet the requirements for the NCAA eligibility center. And so I couldn't look at Division 1 or 2 schools. So that was completely off the table from the jump.
Yeah.
And that obviously changed my whole path.
Yeah.
And, and that's why I say, if you can clean up your path, do your SAT early.
Yep.
Yes, you have it now. And then you actually give yourself a chance to go Division 1.
Yeah.
Cause I look at myself and,
that's great advice.
Obviously I'm going to say, I can play Division 1. Yeah. And maybe I could, maybe I couldn't, but I will never know.
Yeah.
Because I didn't do enough earlier on. I didn't have the knowledge. There wasn't people like Charles and myself that
in Perth.
Yeah.
Wasn't
exactly,
that?
And that was only 5-6 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
And so we were just blindly doing this, sending out film, and I sent out, every Saturday I used to send out 30 emails. Whoa. And that took me, after you find the coach's email and all that, it takes you about 2 hours to send 30 emails.
Yeah.
And I did that for about 10 weeks. So I sent about 300 emails. After that, or from that, I got maybe 30 or 40 responses.
Numbers game.
And at the end, there was 5 final offers. 5 out of 300. So you got to be able to, or you got to be prepared to grind for 100%. It,
That comes back to that consistency.
Because you think about it, let's call it a job, right?
Yeah.
Your scholarship that you receive is your salary.
Yeah.
All right? If Charles is a basketball player and he's got a particular set of skills and he's from Australia and there's a school in Texas, or let's say an employer in Texas looking for someone with Charles's skill set, and he's got Charles and he's got a kid from down the road who has a similar skill set. If you're not really jumping out at the coach and, selling yourself in the best possible light, he's probably just going to pick this guy because it's a safe bet. He's right down the road. He'll spend less money.
Yep.
And so you really got to put yourself in a good position to be able to sell yourself to a coach.
100%.
And again, be consistent, be efficient. Those are 2 things that, I learnt in my early stages of college. And, it's natural. It comes with experience and stuff. But again, if you can have that in your mind and prepare yourself as best as you can, maybe the 2 years I took to become what I needed to be becomes 1 year for you.
100%.
And it's all about the next generation being able to do things, a bit more cleaner than we did, because we had to kind of figure our own way through the whole process.
Yes.
So,
Now, is there anyone you'd like to promote, thank, shout out, or anything of that nature?
Actually, I just want to ask.
Oh, sorry, Charles. Sorry.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, go.
So I see a lot of dotted line.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Great
So
idea.
please explain. It looks nice.
Yeah. Hey, no, it's really cool. So I don't know if you remember, there was a street ball classic that was held in Perth in Forest Place, and that was about 7-8 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah, you remember that? It's a 3-on-3.
Yeah.
And Dotted Line launched 7 years ago at that event, and my good friend Luke McKenzie, he lost the passion for it. That's what he told me. He said he lost the passion for it, and he just kind of let it die down, and he forgot about it for a couple of years. And now, I think we've done a great job of just bringing the basketball culture back to life.
Definitely.
In Perth.
Yes.
And, there's so many different parts of the community that are playing basketball. We got me, we got Charles, we got Justin King's doing coaching.
Mac Dyer and her hoops.
Yeah, Mac Dyer. We've got
Johnson.
Frank's. Yeah, I know Frank does the south side. We got
Coach Glossop.
Glossop, Marshall Nelson.
Yeah, Marshall. Yeah.
So we've got so many guys that are doing it, and that culture is kind of coming back now. And I think social media does really help it.
Yes,
which is great. And I think now he thought, good time to re-release it.
Oh, wow.
It is a little pricey, but if you put that discount code Shaq in in the checkout,
well, it's good to support local small businesses anyway. So,
yeah.
Dotted line, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, so that'd be cool. Jump on this. It's an exclusive basketball apparel brand. It's not for anyone else other than Hoopers. And I think he's looking at doing some exciting things in the future, with some tournaments, some other events. So
that's awesome.
Definitely, we'll be talking to you about that for sure.
Definitely
to get on it and help us out. And we want everyone to be involved. And at the end of the day, our goal as players, coaches, whatever we are at whatever point in time is just to help improve the younger generation and help them achieve their dreams.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a few other plugs I want to give out.
Sorry.
Give a shout out to them.
No, please. That's what we're here for.
Swish City. We spoke about them. Swish City, go check them out. If you're north side, go do that for sure. We got shooting machines. We got a bunch of different coaches. Not only myself, there's a couple of different coaches in there that'll be happy to help you. We got Athletic Institute in Wangara. Okay, Athletic Institute in Wangara. Athlete-specific gym. They've got all the newest stuff. We just moved into a new warehouse location, and you guys should definitely come check that out.
Yes, sir,
we got a full-size backboard in the gym.
When are you open?
They're open Monday to Saturday. The hours are pretty much 8 till 6-ish. Okay. So yeah, for sure.
Photo shoot.
Come through and if you want to get your work in, there's plenty of guys. Basketball players, footy players, they're all in there putting in some pretty big work.
100%.
So yeah, and shout out House of Hoops.
Shout out House of Hoops.
Charles, I'm always going to support you, man.
Shout out, appreciate you, man.
So yeah.
And now, how can people train with yourself? How can they find and get in touch with you?
Yeah, so Swish City, if you contact them, they'll be happy to organize a time. Fantastic. Obviously, with the West Coast Classic, it's busy times. I only like to go 8 till 12 just because I need to get my rest in before the game. But once that's done, I'll be happy to work with kids.
Fantastic.
Awesome. Friday through Sunday, even during the week if you're a little older and you don't have school.
So if you're interested in getting training with someone that's had international experience, multiple countries, just contact Swish City. And
if you need a word of advice, whether you're planning on going to Melbourne to play, or whether you're going to go to Canada, America, whichever one it is, and you don't know anyone that's been through that situation, Shaq is my guy to ask. Don't be afraid to hit him up. Shaq also plays for East Perth Eagles, guys. So if you're trying to check out a game, you're trying to see the man we've been talking about, he's got a game tonight at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, we're at Perry Lakes tonight.
Perry Lakes, Bendat Stadium. Don't be afraid to come out, show up, and I'm pretty sure my guy's going to give you a show. Yeah. But thank you so much for coming down today, bro. We appreciate you.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
I don't know if you want to say anything, Paulie.
No, thank you.
But thank you for joining us today, guys. And
before we go, make sure you like and subscribe, Balls.
Yes.
Follow DRN1. We'll track up the details for Shaq and the Dotted Line and, of course, Swish City. House of Hoops. You can like and subscribe that. Follow Charles on Facebook, Instagram, myself.
Yes, don't forget to follow the man himself as well, Eric Paul Goldie, guys.
Balls, follow balls.
There it is.
All right, guys, thank you so much for saying Tune and Balls.
Johnson with his height. They would just take it away from him. Under 4 left. The barn is alive again. 52-51. Illinois. Griffey.